Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing one of my fancy booktube hats, and today I decided, since I haven't done a review video this month, that I'm going to be doing a review of one of the most interesting books I've read this month, if not the most interesting. And that is Embassytown by China Miéville. I'm also running a bit of an experiment right now with filming without natural light as the days get shorter and shorter here. I want to see if that's going to be possible for me. So I'm filming at night right now, and then I'm going to just see how well I can edit it up in iMovie afterwards to make it look decent. So feel free to tell me in the comments if you think this works or not. Anyhow, Embassytown. I was a little intimidated starting this book because basically all I knew about it was that it was going to be a pretty dense sci-fi book about alien linguistics. And that topic intrigued me, but I was also a little scared because I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep up with the ideas. I had a bit of a rigmarole trying to get my hands on my library's only copy of this book for long enough to read it. So interestingly, I ended up reading the first couple chapters and then returning it to the library and then getting it back like a month or two later. And then I started again from the beginning and read the whole book. I think it actually ended up helping me in terms of the intimidation factor of reading something fairly intellectually challenging, that I was able to read those first couple chapters twice. Because China Miéville isn't just talking about alien linguistics here, he's created this whole huge, vast sci-fi universe, and then placed his story in a particularly strange little corner of it. The protagonist of this story is a woman named Avis, and she is from Embassytown, which is a little human colony on a planet that is the home planet of a species called the Ariake. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They are referred to as the hosts. The hosts and the humans have a peaceful relationship. The hosts have created this area that's inhabitable for humans for their city, within their own city. Humans can't breathe the natural air of this planet, so it's an artificially created bubble of some sort. But communication is difficult because the Ariake, or the hosts, have a language that is supposedly unique in the universe, and humans are only able to communicate with them by means of this sort of complex system that no one really understands, by means of special ambassadors. I could explain this to you in more detail, but I think that part of the fun of the book is trying to piece it together as you go along. China Miéville gives you little bits of it at a time that you start to gather as the book gears up, so that you can put together for yourself in your mind exactly what's going on. And I think this actually works pretty well because some of it is very complex. Not only the aliens and their language, but also the technology, both human and alien, as well as some of the social structures of how society works in this corner of the universe. And I think if it were all dumped on you at once, it would be very overwhelming. And I think Miéville does a very good job of giving you bits of information at a rate where it's actually possible to grab onto those bits of information and comprehend them. At one point, I can't check this quote because I don't have the book anymore, a character says something along the lines of, it's as if communication is only possible between us and the hosts because of a mutual misunderstanding of how language works. And that's kind of the dynamic that's really at the center of this book, is this society that is essentially founded on some really shaky ideas about communication. And then what happens when something in that communication goes wrong and no one on either side really understands the problem enough to fix it. And it's an interesting setting. Embassytown is located sort of at the far reaches of the known universe, making it a bit of a backwater. And for Avis, it's presented like the, small hometown that she was really excited to get out of as a kid. And she's a really interesting character to have as a protagonist because she has left Embassytown. She's one of the few people who was able to get out. She is an immerser professionally, which is someone who works on spaceships in the Immer, which is how space travel happens in this book. Interestingly, like the Aryake language, the Immer is described in this book as something that's kind of impossible to wrap the human mind around. But at the beginning of this book, we kind of have two narratives. We start out with Avis having been in the Out and having returned to Embassytown, and she's at a social gathering where the new ambassador is going to be introduced, and something happens with that new ambassador that is not normal at all. And then in alternating chapters for about the first half of the book, we get Avis's backstory, starting as a child with some incidents that happened that led to, one, her being able to get off the planet, but also, two, her involvement in the Aryake language. And we also learn why she's returned to Embassytown with a man whom she has married, and events once she's returned leading up to the introduction of the new ambassador. So the narrative takes a while to catch up to itself, but by the time it does, it's clear that something has gone very wrong, and society sort of starts to quickly collapse, and we follow the repercussions of the thing that has happened, and we figure out what exactly it is that has happened. I gave this book a 4-star rating, and where it lost the star for me was in part because it was just a little bit outside my, happy reading comfort wheelhouse, but also because the second half of the book was very, very bleak for a while, because we really do start to see the threads of this society come apart at the seams, and it got a little depressing for my personal taste, but I thought that the ending was really interesting. It wrapped together all of the big concepts with Avis's personal story very well. So if you're looking for a really intense sci-fi book about the essence of communication, I guess, I would recommend this for you. Let me know if you've read Embassytown, or if you haven't, whether this makes you more or less likely to want to pick it up. Also, let me know if the lighting works. I would love to talk to you. Okay, bye for now.